What is up, guys? Danny Gevirtz here, and today we are going to be talking about a basic way to correct skin tones in Adobe Premiere. So let's get to it. Skin tones are definitely something that can make or break your shot. You could have the world's greatest color grade, but if your skin tones are off, your shot's ruined. It's something that is so easy to correct, but so many people don't do it and don't take the time to learn it. This is all stuff that you can do right inside Adobe Premiere. You don't need to go out to DaVinci Resolve or some other program. Adobe Premiere actually has like enough tools for you to get the job done for a super advanced color grade. Once you are done with this video, I'm telling you now, you will start noticing skin tones in people's videos so often, whether it's too orange, too yellow, too magenta. This is all stuff that you're gonna be able to see with practice over time, and something that you're gonna be able to correct within your videos to make your videos stand out and look a lot more professional. So I think what we're going to do now is jump into Adobe Premiere, and we're gonna do the rest of this video in there so I can just kind of show you how to correct skin tones. So let's dive in. All right, guys, so here we are in Adobe Premiere, and I have two clips for you. First one is a white male, and the second person is a light-skinned black woman. This one shot on the C200 at 1080p, and this one shot on the Red Epic Helium in 6K, because we were shooting an anamorphic and I used the 8K sensor. But two different types of skin tone, just to show you that all skin tones are kind of be fixed along the same way pretty much. So for this shot right here, just looking at this image here, it's already graded. First thing I noticed about the skin tones is that they're looking pretty red here, which is pretty typical in white people. Canon actually does such a good job with skin tones. As you can see, it's like, it looks good, like right out camera, but it still definitely needs some tweaking. So what I have here is an adjustment layer. You don't have to do it over an adjustment layer. I just like to separate the two after I grade. So this is usually my final step after I'm grading. And so we have our adjustment layer clicked, and you want to make sure in your Lumetri scopes that you have your vector scope and your parades. If you don't see this vector scope open, right click and you'll see it right here, the vector scope YUV. And with this vector scope, this is the most important to pay attention to when coloring your skin tones correctly. You're gonna wanna pay attention to this line right here in between your reds and your yellows, because this is the line that skin tones, whether you're white, black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever color you are, your skin tone is going to fall close to or along this line right here. So first thing I wanna do is open up HSL secondary, and what you're gonna wanna do is click this qualifying tool, and you're just gonna click and hold it over the skin tone here. As you can see on the right side here, it's gathering that color information that you're clicking, and it's selecting only this color within your image. So I'm just gonna make sure I get all of his skin tone here. And to see what you have selected within your image, you click this and it shows you. So I have a lot of the wall selected, which I don't want. So I'm gonna adjust these until I get rid of a lot of that wall, but not too much. So I'm gonna denoise this here, and what denoising it does is going to kind of make the space in between these spots a little smaller, so you're not getting blotches, and you're gonna blur it a little. I'm just gonna smooth out that color. And as you can see, once I have everything selected and you look at your vector scope, you can see that I was right. The skin tones are pushing a lot more magenta and red, and I need them to come back to this line. So it's not too bad, like it's not like super far off. It's hovering close to that line, but I wanna get right on that line to get those skin tones perfect. So what I like to do is I like to go into the 3-way color correction, and I like to start with highlights first. What you wanna do with the highlights is replicate the light source that your highlights are coming from, and that is my aperture 120D, which is set to daylight. So I want the highlights in his skin to be daylight colored. So I'm gonna push that a little this way. And then what I like to do with my midtones is push that to a color that's gonna get it closer to where I want it to be. In this case, I want it to be a little more yellow. So I'm gonna push that just ever so slightly orangish yellow. Then what I always do is I make sure the shadows are kind of a deep red, just to make it kind of look like your subject has life and has some like blood flow going. So there we go. And here again, we're seeing that we're still pushing a little too red. What I like to do next is come down to tint. And as you can see, I want to push a little more towards green yellow. So keep an eye right here on this line as I push towards green, and you can see it's coming closer and closer to that line. And I'm okay with it just touching the line and just above. I don't want to push that too far and make him start to look abnormally green. Then kind of what I like to do is add a little contrast to the skin, make them stand out from the background a little bit. And when you add contrast, naturally there's going to be a little more saturation added, so I'm just going to dial the saturation down. I'm going to take off a little bit of sharpening on the skin to get rid of some of the imperfections in his skin, not too much though. And let's see how that is looking. So that's looking pretty good. Quickly, we're going to see before. As you can see, it's pretty red, doesn't look very natural and lifelike. And after our adjustment, he's looking pretty good. His name's Scott. Scott's looking great here. Cool. So that's color grading a white man with C200 footage. Next, we are going to go to this clip right here, and this is red epithelium footage. And this is a light-skinned black woman. And as you can see, after this grade, her skin is so yellow, and she kind of looks like a Simpsons character. One thing I noticed when shooting on red is that the skin tones are just always so bad for no reason. That's why I think a lot of people prefer shooting on Ari rather than red. They just like haven't really gotten the skin tone science down. Like even like Canon has it down way better than red does. Like you're paying all this money for a camera and rant over. Okay, so here are our lumetri scopes. Everything's graded already. I'm gonna click on my adjustment layer here, and we're gonna start out by again qualifying the skin. Alright, cool. Now we have her skin highlighted, and when we come over to our vector scope, you can see that's pushing super yellow. So what we're gonna come do is come into our try, and the light, again, daylight, it's coming from quasar tubes. So I'm gonna push that towards daylight. Then I wanna push this more towards magenta. And I wanna give her some deep red into the shadows. Okay, so we're still pushing pretty yellow as compared to red, so this is kind of an opposite situation that we had on our last clip. So instead of going back green, we're gonna push magenta, and we see that coming up onto the line. Nice. Could give her a little contrast, take down the saturation a little bit, maybe give her a little more green in the highlights. I might actually take down the saturation a little bit, give her a little more green in the highlights to match our color grade, and boom. How's that looking? Looks a lot better. So hopefully that was enough for you. I know that was just a super basic tutorial on how to color correct skin tones within Adobe Premiere. Hopefully it's something that can help you take your videos to the next level and look a little more professional, and I'm just happy I could be along for your filmmaking career, so thank you. If you have questions, leave them in the comments below. Till next time. See ya.